Ava got into a serious accident during the weekend. She got a concussion and broke her leg. Still, the very next day, one of her friends saw her riding a bicycle in the park, and she looked fine. How is that possible? Look, the girl who got into the car accident has a tattoo on her ankle. The girl on the bike doesn't. The girl who was riding the bike was Ava's twin sister, Malva. A doctor rushed into the emergency room and saw there were 2 patients waiting for urgent treatment. The man on the left was a tech millionaire, and the lady on the right was a grandmother to 5 children. He needed to think fast who he would save. Who should he choose? He should choose the grandmother. The man on the left has a phone next to him. He could call someone else for help. 3 scientists went to research in the Amazon forest. Bianca had some trouble with the harsh weather, but felt it was worth it in the end. Pablo had a great time photographing the wildlife for his social media page, and Helena got to study a rare species of carnivorous plant. On the last day of their trip, passing through airport security, one of them got caught trying to take something in their backpack. Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who it was? Well, it's illegal to take seeds and plants with you, and Helena had a carnivorous plant in her backpack. Yikes! Mia went to Rome for summer vacation. She was wandering through the streets when she saw an artist's easel was knocked over. He said he had stepped away for 1 second and the tragedy happened. Mia decided to help him solve the case and interviewed a few people. Marco said that he'd been taking photos nearby. Harry said he'd been juggling for a big crowd a few meters away. Josie said that she'd come by just to buy a painting from the artist. And Leo said he had been enjoying gelato at a cafe nearby. Can you help Mia figure this one out? Well, look at Harry's backpack. There are some art supplies sticking out of it. He must have created a distraction to steal it. Yikes! Barbara invited her colleague Sabrina for lunch at her place. Sabrina was surprised she thought Barbara didn't like her. But Barbara went all in for their lunch. She even cooked delicious tuna. She split the fish in half, and each of the ladies ate their portion. A few hours after lunch, Sabrina ended up in the hospital with severe food poisoning. After a thorough investigation, the police popped over at Barbara's house and arrested her. But how is this possible? Take a look at the knife Barbara used to prepare the meal. It had a bit of poison on one side. Certainly the side that she gave Barbara to eat. Oh my. You meet a friend for coffee, and she says she will only spill the tea on her latest secret if you can guess her riddle. She says, 5 costs $25, 25 costs $50. If you buy 255, you pay $75. What is it that you're buying, and how much does one item cost? You're buying door numbers, and each number costs $25. It took a decade for Professor Evans' archaeological mission to find a priceless artifact. The professor stored it safely in a vault. The team celebrated the win with a bonfire and went to sleep. The next morning, the artifact was gone. Professor Evans decided to investigate the robbery herself. Jack said he spent the last 2 hours cataloging the pottery they had found earlier. Olivia claimed she spent the last few hours in the rest area getting some sleep. Mark mentioned he'd been repairing the digger all morning. Professor Evans immediately figured out who took the artifact. Can you figure it out too? It was Mark. He claimed he spent the entire morning fixing the digger, but take a look at his hands. They should be dirty from the repairs. A car crashed into a restaurant window and drove straight inside. The owner was horrified and called the cops to investigate. There were two main suspects, Julia and Bernard. Each of them claims it was the other person who is the culprit. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who's lying? It's Julia. If you pay attention to the tire tracks, you'll see that they're the same pattern as Julia's tires. She's the one who did it. Take a look at this picture. Can you guess who is more reckless? Let's see. On the first pic, we see a little kid on the beach playing near the water. His super muscular dad is in the background talking to a couple of women. In the second pic, the little kid is playing catch with a not-so-friendly dog. But hey, his dad in the background is paying close attention. It's safe to say the dad on the first pic is more reckless. You are in Greece, exploring some of the country's ancient ruins. You get lost from your group and find the entrance to a hidden cave. You come across a mysterious chamber with 4 massive doors, each with a unique symbol. Beside it, there is an ancient scroll. When you open it, you find a message that tells you to trust that your mind knows the fleeting nature of time. The first door carries the symbol of a shield. The second door has a crown. The third door features a pair of wings, and the fourth door has an hourglass on it. Which door will lead you to the treasure? The fourth door, the one with the hourglass. The clue was in the last phrase, the fleeting nature of time. It's the hourglass. You walk into a diner and there are 2 very suspicious clients indoors. And one of them is actually a criminal. Who is it? Let's have a look. The first guy looks suspicious, especially since he's holding a defensive device. The second girl looks more innocent. She's just sitting holding a knife and cutting her salad with it. But hey, she's the guilty one. That huge knife is too big for cutting a salad, and it's got a red stain on it. Sarah was invited for a brunch with her new colleagues from work. She recently started working at a tech company. She arrived at the restaurant but didn't see any of her colleagues. Instead, she saw a weird-looking robot. How could she tell that it was really a robot? I know it looks like a person, but hey, look at her wrists. She has USB entrances on both of them. It must have been one of the pranks her colleagues decided to play on her. Maeve quit her job and decided to travel the world. Her first destination was Paris. She didn't know anything or anyone over there, so she arrived and looked for the first hostel she could find. But, oh no, she really shouldn't go inside this place. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out why? This hostel is haunted. There's the shadow of a ghost on the top window. I definitely wouldn't go in. One late summer evening, a thief broke into a renowned artist's studio and stole a rare painting. He didn't manage to get too far though, because a security patrol passed by while he was escaping. The thief stashed the painting under a thick bush and hid behind a nearby wall. The artist was quick to notice they had been stolen and called Detective Summer for help. The detective soon gathered 2 suspects. Take a look at the picture. Which guy did it? If you crawl through a bush with bare arms, they will most likely get scratched. Take a look at that second guy's arms. They're covered in scratches. He must be the culprit.
Harry wakes up inside a simulated reality. An AI voice tells him that he needs to complete a series of tasks in order to get back to his normal life. 3 doors are projected in front of him. The first has a huge hammer that smashes anything that passes by it. The second door leads to a corridor filled with electric pipes. And behind the third door, there's broken glass all over the place. He has 2 seconds to choose one of the doors. Which one should he pick? He should choose the third door. Since he's wearing shoes, he'll be all right. He goes through that door and ends up in a cage. Inside, there are 3 rescue buttons. The red button will open the cage immediately, but it also simultaneously opens a cage with a hungry lion. The blue one will open the cage in 10 minutes, but it will also open hundreds of water pipes. The orange button will open the cage in 5 minutes, but it will also set the place on fire. Which of the buttons should he press? He should press the blue one. I mean, since it's a cage, it won't fill up with water. As soon as his cage opens, he is free to swim away. Then he finds himself at a crossroads. There are 3 different paths, and he needs to figure out which one to take. The first path is filled with smoking coal. The second path has frozen ice all over it. And the third path has pretty sharp nails. Which one should he choose? He should definitely choose the middle path. Even if the ice doesn't melt during daytime, it's pretty easy to go through it. It looks like Harry is doing pretty well, so the AI controlling the game decides to make the task a bit more difficult. It projects a scene where Harry is now in a hotel lobby. He has to figure out which of the lobby guys won't help him with his luggage. It's definitely the guy in the middle. If you look closely, the guy is transparent, which means he's probably a ghost. He can't touch physical stuff, so he won't be able to help Harry. Suddenly, the weekend in this virtual reality, and Harry is taken to a cabin in the mountains. There are 4 friends waiting for his arrival. They have a fun time, but at the end of the weekend, the cabin catches fire. One of his friends did it. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out who did it? It's the third guy to the right. He has a tiny gasoline bottle hanging from his belt. Harry suddenly appears in what looks like a wedding ceremony and discovers he's the one getting married. 2 women appear in front of him. They are dressed the same, but they both have their faces covered with veils. He needs to figure out who his true bride is. Can you help him out here? They look identical, but one of them already has a wedding ring. This can only mean that his true bride is the other lucky gal. For his next challenge, he's taken to a restaurant where a waitress shows him 4 glasses. Each glass is filled with the same liquid, water, and has an object inside of it. The waitress asks Harry which glass has more water than the rest. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out the correct answer? This shouldn't be too hard. The last glass is the one that has more water inside. The paperclip weighs almost nothing, while the other objects are way heavier. This means there is less water in all the other glasses. Harry's doing great thanks to you. Now, look at this image. There are 3 people about to parachute out of an airplane. Help Harry figure out who is in graver danger here. It's the first 2 people. You see, there's a heavy bottle in the last guy's backpack. If it falls down, it can break the others' parachutes. Uh-oh. Harry's stomach starts to growl after so much hard work, so he asks for some food. The AI controlling the game decides to create 2 chefs to bake him 2 different cakes. But here's the catch. Only one is safe to eat. Take a look at both of these delicious-looking cakes. Which one is safe? If you have a sharp eye, you'll know that the chef on the left is a fake, so you shouldn't eat his cake. The left chef has stains all over his shirt that look like blood. Plus, he doesn't have a badge on his shirt. He has a scratch over his eye, and he's hiding a syringe in his hand behind his back. There are just too many red flags here. Harry should go for the cake on the right. Well, it's time to take a nap, and Harry is taken to an old house. There are 3 rooms for him to choose from. Take a look at the picture. Which one should he choose? Well, so you see the hidden scenarios behind the curtains in the first room? That's a big no-no. As for the third room, notice how the AC is set to cold even though it's snowing outside. No to that, so he should definitely pick the second room. To sweeten things up a bit, Harry was enrolled into a baking competition. He was introduced to 3 judges, and they each told Harry what their favorite cake was. The first judge expressed his love for chocolate pies. Judge number 2 said he loved berry pies more than anything in the world. And Judge 3 said he was fond of pecan pies, also pronounced pecan. Harry immediately knew one of them was lying. Can you tell who? It was judge number 2. Do you see the chocolate stains and pie crumbles on the second judge's shirt? That could only mean he was enjoying a slice of chocolate pie before arriving at the competition venue. Harry needs to enter a new realm of the game, and for that, he needs to go through what looks like an airport. He didn't have any luggage with him, but he still needed to go through a security check. He went through the scanner, but he beeped every time he passed through it. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out what was making him beep so much? It was the necklace chain dangling from the pocket of his jacket. Good eye if you spotted that. Passing through the different realms, Harry spotted a nice bakery, then decided to stop for some more nourishment. There were 3 options to choose from: a cupcake, a chocolate croissant, and a gingerbread cookie. Can you guess which one he picked? You don't need to be a genius to see that Harry is using gingerbread cookie socks. He loves them so much, which is why that's his usual pick. Harry arrived at the gate of the new realm, and there were two creatures guarding it, a lion and a unicorn. There was a little sign saying that the lion lied on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, and that the unicorn lied on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Harry asked to get inside, and the lion said he needed to answer one of the riddles. He told Harry that he lied yesterday, and the unicorn said he also lied yesterday. Can you help Harry figure out which day of the week was yesterday? Well, let's see how this works. From what the magical creature said, they were both lying on the same day. So the only possible answer to this riddle is Saturday. If we consider yesterday was Saturday, that means the lion was telling the truth and the unicorn was lying. Finally, Harry completed all of his tasks and was allowed to go back home. Which of the three doors should Harry choose to get back home? Well, let's see. He should choose the door in the middle. It has a house emoji on it, which will probably take Harry directly back to the comfort of his home. Daisy returned home and noticed that someone had broken into her apartment and stolen her diamond necklace. The police arrive and question three neighbors. Greg was painting his ceiling. He was wearing headphones, so he couldn't hear anything. Bianca was hiking with her bestie all day long. They've just returned home. Glenda only went out once to walk her dog. She thinks she heard some weird noises from Daisy's apartment. Who's lying? Greg, take a look at his ceiling. Does it look freshly painted? Busted. Daisy works as a manager at the local circus. Her task is to prepare their new location for future performances. She arrives at the spot, takes a look at the stage, and freaks out. Why? Take a closer look at the sign. It says citrus instead of circus. Daisy goes to her favorite cafe to have lunch. There, she sees these three people. One of them was poisoned. Can you guess who? The third guy didn't even touch his cappuccino. He must be just sleeping. The second lady is awake. She has some cappuccino mustache, nothing criminal. But take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, so we can't say for sure whether he's awake or not. Meanwhile, his phone is ringing in his pocket, but he shows no reaction at all. That's suspicious. So he's the poisoned one. After lunch, Daisy enters one of the dressing rooms and finds their star, Clown Roger, unconscious on the floor. Daisy calls the police. They arrive very quickly and question three witnesses. Bob says he was just walking by. He has never seen this clown before. Mia says that she's a huge fan of Clown Roger, and she's very sorry. And Nick says that he's just a handyman. The circus hired him to fix problems with electricity. Who's lying? Bob. He said he had never seen this actor, but he's wearing a t-shirt which has a print of Clown Roger's face. So Bob must be his crazy fan. Daisy visits another star of the circus, Dave. He's a talented acrobat. Dave has just received a mysterious basket of candies with a letter. The sender is unknown. The letter says, "Dear Dave, thank you very much for your talent. I really like you. Let's go out sometime. Best wishes." There's no name on the letter. Dave has no clue who it could be from. Luckily, there's a short little riddle. 3rd of August, 4th of February, 2nd of May, 3rd of December, and 6th of October. Can you help him crack the code? The 3rd of August means the 3rd letter in the word August, which is G. The 4th letter of February is R. The 2nd letter of May is A, and so on. So the name of Dave's secret admirer is Grace. The circus company throws a corporate party. They ask all employees to wear some Halloween costumes. So Daisy heads to the shopping mall to get herself one. But they only have 3 options to choose from: a witch outfit, a mermaid costume, and a vampire costume. Can you help her make the best choice? Take a closer look at the witchy costume. This tag says it's made out of paper, so it's a bad idea to wear it at a party. As for the mermaid costume, the tail is torn at the back. So Daisy should pick the vampire outfit. Daisy arrives at the party. Everyone's dancing in their Halloween costumes, but one of these 4 people is a real vampire. Can you guess who? Let's see. The guy on the left is drinking something red, but he has a shadow, so he can't be a real vampire. The second lady looks pretty creepy, but if you look closely at the mirror on the wall, you'll see her reflection, so we can exclude her. We can also see the reflection of the 4th guy in the mirror. Only one lady is left, so she must be the real vampire. Daisy's town has an old haunted museum. Daisy and her friends decide to spend Halloween night inside the museum to have some spooky time. As the clock strikes midnight, the portraits hanging on the walls of the museum come to life. A portrait of a lady starts screaming for some help. She tells Daisy that the former employees dared to make a fake version of her portrait, and she wants Daisy to destroy it. But Daisy takes a look at the fake portrait and spots 3 differences from the original. She assures the lady that it can't hold a candle to the original. Can you spot them too? The lipstick color, the pendant, and the ribbon on her hair are all different. Then Daisy goes to the cafeteria to grab some snacks. There are 3 options only. Which one should she choose? Take a look at the date that's written on the potato chips bag. According to it, the chips expired in 1924, so that's a pass. The small note below the ice cream says it's earwax flavored. Nobody wants to taste that. So Daisy should pick the popcorn. Daisy keeps on walking and comes across a building. There are 2 ladies in 2 different apartment windows. Both seem to be busy with household duties, but one of them is dangerous. Can you guess who? The second lady is just getting rid of pests. There's nobody in the room and she's wearing a mask. But take a look at the lady on the left. There's an open bleach bottle next to the food she's cooking. Ew, no thank you. Daisy keeps on walking and faces something curious. It's a 5-letter word that is under you. If you remove its first letter, then it's over you. If you remove its first and second letters, it's all around you. What is it? It's just a chair. The next morning, Daisy arrives at the circus. She finds out that Dave was kidnapped by a mad scientist. He locked Dave in his lab in one room and put a zombie in another room. Daisy arrives at the lab to rescue Dave. She sees these 2 doors with 2 signs. Only one of them tells the truth, and another one lies. The sign on the first door says, Dave is here and the zombie is in the next room. And the sign on the second door says, the zombie is in one room and Dave is in the other. So, where's Dave? Dave is in the second room. If door 1 tells the truth, then door 2 is true too. This is contrary to the terms of the game. Daisy rescues Dave. They escape through a long corridor together. Soon the corridor splits into 3 tunnels. They are signed West, East, and South. The pair also see some weird inscriptions on the wall. Which corridor should they choose? Daisy and Dave should tilt their heads and look at the inscription upside down. This way, it reads South. The guys keep on walking and find a door, but it's locked. They need to enter a 4-digit password. Luckily, there's a hint nearby. It's a note that has 4 images. Can you help Daisy and Dave crack the code? Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects. This clover only has 1 color. The Santa hat has 2, the banana has 1, and finally the rainbow has 7. So the code is 1217. Daisy and Dave open the door and escape from the lab. They find themselves in the middle of an island. The guys hit the road and drive to the pier, where they face these 3 bridges leading to the mainland. Sharp rocks and glass cover the first bridge. The second one is swarming with venomous snakes. Hot orange lava is boiling on the third road. Which route should they choose? They're driving an open-top car, so it's dangerous to choose the snakes. The first bridge will destroy their tires, so they should pick the third route. The ocean will soon cool the lava down and turn it into stone.
Mason is moving to a new town. On the way, he makes a stop at the local gas station. He wants to pay for gas and snacks, but his red leather wallet is missing. Mason interrogates 3 people standing nearby. Ashley says that she didn't touch Mason's stuff. Both of her hands were full of sandwiches. Lily says she was taking selfies for her social media. And the cashier, Xavier, said that he didn't notice any red wallets. Mason knows for sure who's the thief. What about you? Take a look at Ashley's sandwiches. She hid Mason's wallet between 2 pieces of bread. Mason exposes the thief and continues on his journey. He gets hungry and goes to a diner. But immediately, Mason feels something off about this place. Something's completely wrong with one of these 3 waiters. Which one? The lady on the left has wolf teeth, and she doesn't wear any badge on her uniform, so it makes sense to stay away from her. Mason arrives at the town late at night. He parks his car and looks around. Suddenly, Mason notices an unconscious lady on the ground. He calls the police and an ambulance. They arrive very quickly. Meanwhile, the lady comes to her senses, but she finds out that all her money is missing. The police have 3 suspects, Mason and 2 other pedestrians, Noah and Mike. Who's the thief? Take a look at the ground. There are 2 types of footsteps leading to the place where the lady is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other one was left by Mason. There are 2 parallel straight lines left by a wheelchair. So the thief must be Mike.
Oh no!
The next day, Mason meets his neighbors.
Hello.
It's an elderly couple, Ralph and Glenda. They have just finished building a fancy new house. The house looks beautiful, and they invite their 3 grandchildren over to have a look at their work. It takes 1 day for one guy and 2 girls to break several windows, knock down the fence, remove the decorations, and ruin the roof. But the retired couple doesn't mind. They just smile looking at the teenagers. Can you figure out why? The grandparents made a gingerbread house and invited their grandchildren to enjoy it. Dinner time. Mason enters a local restaurant. 2 tables are occupied, but this is not a regular boring restaurant. One of these families belongs to the Mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a closer look at the second family. The daughter holds a teddy bear that's stuffed with dollars. Mason decides to go to another place instead. He takes a look at these 2 tables and spots the Mafia family right away. What about you? It's the first family. The father has a red laser dot at the level of his heart. A sniper is aiming at him. Mason switches restaurants again. 2 tables are occupied by innocent-looking families. Yet again, one of these groups belongs to the Mafia. Can you guess which one? Take a look at the second table. The father is hiding a gold bar in his menu.
Oh.
The next morning, Mason goes to check out the local pool. Can you spot an undercover cop among these people? This guy has a suspicious earphone in his ear. Why would he need it while swimming? Mason is terrible at packing. Today, he's going camping in the forest. Can you help him pack his stuff? Take a look at his bag and spot all the useless items. Oh look, he has an electric hairdryer, but there's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Mason and his friend Bennett go hiking in the local forest. On the way, they meet 2 ladies, Anna and Alice. They hang out together and both guys fall in love with Anna. They want to take her on a date. So the guys secretly ask Alice which of them Anna likes more. Alice doesn't want to share her bestie's secrets, but she gives the guys a hint. Anna loves pizza, but she can't stand burgers. She likes to go to the pool, but she never goes to the gym. Her favorite animal is the llama, but she's afraid of zebras. Which one of these guys does Anna like? Alice wanted to give the guys a clue, so we have to look for some patterns in her words. All the things Anna likes have double letters. Bennett has 2 double letters in his name, so he must be Anna's crush. The guys keep on hiking. Suddenly, they see a beautiful large apple tree growing on a cliff. If a powerful wind blows towards the land, where will the apples fall? In any case, they'll fall down. Alice needs to leave for the city, but Mason, Bennett, and Anna decide to spend the night in the wild. The next day, they wake up in a terrible trap. They're hanging upside down in the air with their legs tied. There's a bunch of venomous snakes on the ground under Mason. There's fire and hot coals under Anna, and dangerous scorpions are crawling under Bennett. How can the guys survive? Can you see that black cloud with lightning? It's gonna start raining soon. The rainwater will put out the fire under Anna. This lady has a knife, so she can cut the rope and then help the others.
Yes!
The guys escape, but they get lost in the forest. It gets dark. They're wandering around and come across a creepy cabin. It belongs to a witch. She says the guys must solve a riddle if they want to escape from her land. The witch writes a number. There are 2 special things about it. What are they? First, this number contains all existing digits. Second, they're put in alphabetical order.
Oh.
Mason and his friends return to the town. Meanwhile, someone robbed the local museum and stole the most valuable painting.
Oh no.
A detective investigates the crime scene and finds the thief right away. However, when asked to give it back, the criminal provides the police with 3 copies of the same painting. He refuses to tell which one is original. Can you find the real masterpiece? Each painting has a different frame, but only one of them is perfectly similar to the other frames hanging in the museum. And since this museum uses the same style of frames, this painting should be the original. Mason gets a new job in a small company. Only 4 people work with him. One day, Mason comes to the office and he doesn't find his favorite slippers. Mason always puts them on while working. He searches everywhere and finally spots them on the roof of the building. Mason is furious. He questions his coworkers. Bill says, "I don't even know where you keep your slippers." Phil says, "I'm terrified of heights. I've never climbed up there." Mara says, "I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them." And Ella says, "I respect you too much to prank you, sir." One of them is lying. Who? It's Phil. He said he was afraid of heights, but take a look at the photo on his table. He's skydiving with a parachute. Liar. After work, Mason returns to his condo. He enters the elevator with 3 people. One of them is a police officer working undercover. Can you guess who? Take a look at this old lady's outfit. She has a tiny hidden video camera in her hat. Mason enters his apartment. Oh no! Someone broke the lock and stole his precious golden cup. Mason calls the police and they question 3 neighbors. George was painting his living room all day. He listened to loud music so he couldn't hear anything. Bella was walking with her boyfriend all day long. They've just returned home. And Aaron was sick, so he only went out once that day to take out his trash. He heard weird noises from Mason's apartment. Who's lying? George. His living room doesn't look freshly painted.
Now, Tim and Monica were celebrating their 4th year together when Tim popped the question. Bobby and Olivia got engaged a year ago and were also planning the details of their wedding. Take a look at both couples a few seconds before they say "I do." Who do you think will probably get divorced? Let's take a closer look. It's probably going to be Tim and Monica. If you look closely, Monica has a tattoo on her arm. And look at that guy on the 2nd row of her wedding. He has the same matching tattoo as her. Plus, look at his face. He is definitely not happy to see her getting married. Liam was on a date with Sarah, his college sweetheart, when her sisters, Jessica and Jackie, decided to show up to play a prank on them. The girls paired up and said they wanted Liam to order them a dessert. Liam needed to impress the girls. He knows that Sarah is on a diet, so she doesn't eat fat or flour products. Jessica has a sore throat, and Jackie is a vegan and allergic to citrus. Take a look at the dessert options at the restaurant. Help Liam pick the best dessert for each girl. The ice cream is out of the picture. He should get the citrus smoothie to Sarah, the cake to Jessica, and the fruit salad to Jackie. Mary is almost 30 years old and she's been single for a pretty long time. Let me guess, 30 years? She decided it was time to find herself a boyfriend, and so she made a profile on a dating app. She got interested in 3 different guys: John, Arthur, and Henry. John says he loves surfing and going shopping every single week. Arthur has his own wine collection and loves to cycle on the weekends. Henry is a baker who loves doing ceramics. Can you figure out which one of them is a maniac? Well, this sure wasn't obvious, but it's John. Look at his pictures. He says he goes shopping every week, but he's wearing the exact same clothes in all of his pictures. That's just too weird. Cleo just moved to New York to start a degree in fashion. The first week of graduate school is filled with networking events, where she meets a bunch of new people. 2 guys asked her out on a date that night. Brad tried to impress her, saying he had tickets to the Met Gala the next weekend, and invited her to tag along. Harry said that his company gave him 2 Taylor Swift tickets and invited her to come with him. One of them is lying big time. Can you guess who? Brad is lying. Look at that flyer behind Cleo. It says that the Met Gala was canceled that year. Brad was probably just too desperate to impress Cleo. Blake received an anonymous text message saying that his girlfriend was cheating on him in the office next door to him. He abandoned everything he was doing and ran over to see if he would catch her cheating. When he got there, he could only see Sarah, his girlfriend, and a bunch of other girls. Can you spot who is Sarah's lover amongst these people? Most of them are girls, but there's a guy hidden right in the middle. Look at the Adam's apple and fake hair. That must be him. Barbara is a successful influencer, and she's living her best life in Los Angeles. One day, out of the blue, she got a love letter from one of her high school friends. The letter said how much this person has always admired Barbara and dreamt of dating her. But the thing is, the letter wasn't signed, so she has no idea who had written it. Take a look at these pictures. Can you guess which one of these people is in love with Barbara? Well, let's see. Ben, her high school best friend, is probably dating someone since he's wearing half of a heart-shaped necklace. Rob, her childhood neighbor, is scrolling through a dating app, so it's probably not him as well. It was the last guy, John. He sat behind her in most of their classes together, and if you look closely, his hands are dirty with green ink, the same ink that he wrote the letter with. Brady decided to surprise his wife with an anniversary trip. He booked them a week in Rome, and his wife was thrilled about it. One morning, they went to visit the Colosseum, but the line was so big that they got lost from each other. Take a look at the image. Can you spot Brady's wife? Brady's wife is that woman wearing the same yellow t-shirt that Brady is wearing, which says, USA loves Italy. They bought it the day before. Jenna went through a terrible breakup recently. She spent months crying because her ex-boyfriend got a new girlfriend. So her friends decided to cheer her up. They set her up on a blind date with a guy named Jonas. She arrived at the restaurant around 8 p.m. It was pouring rain outside. As soon as she arrived, she spotted 3 single guys waiting at different tables. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who Jonas is? It's the guy on the right. The first guy is waiting for the check, which means he already ate. The second guy is waiting for some lady to come back from the bathroom. The third guy has a wet umbrella next to his table, which means he probably also arrived when it was raining. Plus, he's holding his phone in his hands, probably waiting for a text. That must be Jonas. Good luck, guy. Jen and Hannah are best friends. They've both been dating their boyfriends for over 3 years. They often get together and daydream about what their perfect proposals would look like. One day, something almost magical happened. While Jen's boyfriend proposed to her during a romantic dinner, Hannah's boyfriend proposed on their weekend away. Take a look at both of these pictures. Can you tell which proposal is fake? Uh-oh. It looks like Hannah's proposal is a fake. Look at her boyfriend's finger. He's got another ring there. Bethany and Fred started dating recently. Bethany's birthday was coming up, and she asked Fred to take her to see a concert with her favorite band. Fred got nervous because he had no idea who her favorite band was. When he asked her what band that was, Bethany sent him a text message with a couple of emojis. Take a look at the text. Can you figure out the name of the band? Ah, the band is Coldplay. Amelia moved back to her hometown after a few years abroad. She hadn't seen her friends in a long time. They invited her for a welcome back party. They danced and laughed all night. What she didn't know was that her friends were planning on playing a prank on her. They shut down the lights and switched her expensive fancy necklace with a fake one from a cheap jewelry store. When the lights were turned back on, they asked her to figure out who took her necklace, and they joked they would only give it back if she could guess correctly. Take a look at the image. Can you help Amelia? It was the guy and the girl dancing on the left corner. Take a close look at the guy's pocket. It has something in the shape of a necklace in there. Plus, the girl is trying to hide it with her hand, but she kinda gave it away. Rue and her husband traveled to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. As soon as they arrived at their hotel, they realized it was nothing like the pictures. The place looked like a haunted mansion. Take a look at the pictures of the rooms. Which room should they choose to stay in? The first room has some insanely big spider webs. If you look closely, there are some ghosts hovering just outside the window of the second room. The third room has some flickering lights, but it looks like the safest of them all. Hey, good luck with that. Now, Tim and Monica were celebrating their 4th year together when Tim popped the question. Bobby and Olivia got engaged a year ago and were also planning the details of their wedding. Take a look at both couples a few seconds before they say "I do." Who do you think will probably get divorced? Let's take a closer look. It's probably going to be Tim and Monica. If you look closely, Monica has a tattoo on her arm. And look at that guy on the second row of her wedding. He has the same matching tattoo as her. Plus, look at his face. He is definitely not happy to see her getting married. Liam was on a date with Sarah, his college sweetheart, when her sisters, Jessica and Jackie, decided to show up to play a prank on them. The girls paired up and said they wanted Liam to order them a dessert. Liam needed to impress the girls. He knows that Sarah is on a diet, so she doesn't eat fat or flour products. Jessica has a sore throat, and Jackie is a vegan and allergic to citrus. Take a look at the dessert options at the restaurant. Help Liam pick the best dessert for each girl. The ice cream is out of the picture. He should get the citrus smoothie to Sarah, the cake to Jessica, and the fruit salad to Jackie. Mary is almost 30 years old and she's been single for a pretty long time. Let me guess, 30 years? She decided it was time to find herself a boyfriend, and so she made a profile on a dating app. She got interested in 3 different guys: John, Arthur, and Henry. John says he loves surfing and going shopping every single week. Arthur has his own wine collection and loves to cycle on the weekends. Henry is a baker who loves doing ceramics. Can you figure out which one of them is a maniac? Well, this sure wasn't obvious, but it's John. Look at his pictures. He says he goes shopping every week, but he's wearing the exact same clothes in all of his pictures. That's just too weird. Cleo just moved to New York to start a degree in fashion. The first week of graduate school is filled with networking events, where she meets a bunch of new people. 2 guys asked her out on a date that night. Brad tried to impress her, saying he had tickets to the Met Gala the next weekend, and invited her to tag along. Harry said that his company gave him 2 Taylor Swift tickets and invited her to come with him. One of them is lying big time. Can you guess who? Brad is lying. Look at that flyer behind Cleo. It says that the Met Gala was canceled that year. Brad was probably just too desperate to impress Cleo. Blake received an anonymous text message saying that his girlfriend was cheating on him in the office next door to him. He abandoned everything he was doing and ran over to see if he would catch her cheating. When he got there, he could only see Sarah, his girlfriend, and a bunch of other girls. Can you spot who is Sarah's lover amongst these people? Most of them are girls, but there's a guy hidden right in the middle. Look at the Adam's apple and fake hair. That must be him. Barbara is a successful influencer, and she's living her best life in Los Angeles. One day, out of the blue, she got a love letter from one of her high school friends. The letter said how much this person has always admired Barbara and dreamt of dating her. But the thing is, the letter wasn't signed, so she has no idea who had written it. Take a look at these pictures. Can you guess which one of these people is in love with Barbara? Well, let's see. Ben, her high school best friend, is probably dating someone since he's wearing half of a heart-shaped necklace. Rob, her childhood neighbor, is scrolling through a dating app, so it's probably not him as well. It was the last guy, John. He sat behind her in most of their classes together, and if you look closely, his hands are dirty with green ink, the same ink that he wrote the letter with. Brady decided to surprise his wife with an anniversary trip. He booked them a week in Rome, and his wife was thrilled about it. One morning, they went to visit the Colosseum, but the line was so big that they got lost from each other. Take a look at the image. Can you spot Brady's wife? Brady's wife is that woman wearing the same yellow t-shirt that Brady is wearing, which says, USA loves Italy. They bought it the day before. Jenna went through a terrible breakup recently. She spent months crying because her ex-boyfriend got a new girlfriend. So her friends decided to cheer her up. They set her up on a blind date with a guy named Jonas. She arrived at the restaurant around 8 p.m. It was pouring rain outside. As soon as she arrived, she spotted 3 single guys waiting at different tables. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who Jonas is? It's the guy on the right. The first guy is waiting for the check, which means he already ate. The second guy is waiting for some lady to come back from the bathroom. The third guy has a wet umbrella next to his table, which means he probably also arrived when it was raining. Plus, he's holding his phone in his hands, probably waiting for a text. That must be Jonas. Good luck, guy. Jen and Hannah are best friends. They've both been dating their boyfriends for over 3 years. They often get together and daydream about what their perfect proposals would look like. One day, something almost magical happened. While Jen's boyfriend proposed to her during a romantic dinner, Hannah's boyfriend proposed on their weekend away. Take a look at both of these pictures. Can you tell which proposal is fake? Uh-oh. It looks like Hannah's proposal is a fake. Look at her boyfriend's finger. He's got another ring there. Bethany and Fred started dating recently. Bethany's birthday was coming up, and she asked Fred to take her to see a concert with her favorite band. Fred got nervous because he had no idea who her favorite band was. When he asked her what band that was, Bethany sent him a text message with a couple of emojis. Take a look at the text. Can you figure out the name of the band? Ah, the band is Coldplay. Amelia moved back to her hometown after a few years abroad. She hadn't seen her friends in a long time. They invited her for a welcome back party. They danced and laughed all night. What she didn't know was that her friends were planning on playing a prank on her. They shut down the lights and switched her expensive fancy necklace with a fake one from a cheap jewelry store. When the lights were turned back on, they asked her to figure out who took her necklace, and they joked they would only give it back if she could guess correctly. Take a look at the image. Can you help Amelia? It was the guy and the girl dancing on the left corner. Take a close look at the guy's pocket. It has something in the shape of a necklace in there. Plus, the girl is trying to hide it with her hand, but she kinda gave it away. Rue and her husband traveled to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. As soon as they arrived at their hotel, they realized it was nothing like the pictures. The place looked like a haunted mansion. Take a look at the pictures of the rooms. Which room should they choose to stay in? The first room has some insanely big spider webs. If you look closely, there are some ghosts hovering just outside the window of this second room. The third room has some flickering lights, but it looks like the safest of them all. Hey, good luck with that.
Mrs. Cooper was going to the bank when she passed out. Cece was passing by when she noticed the woman on the ground. She called the ambulance and the police. Soon the woman came to her senses, but she found out that someone had stolen all her money. There were 3 suspects, Cece and 2 other pedestrians, Teo and Mason. Who is the thief? Look, there are 2 types of footsteps leading to the place where Mrs. Cooper is lying. One of them belongs to her, and the other was left by Cece. There are also 2 parallel straight lines, which must be the prints left by a wheelchair. So the thief must be the man in the wheelchair, Mason. Mrs. Ford reported to the police that her neighbor, Anthony, had stolen her golden figurine. She said, "I was upstairs vacuum cleaning when I heard someone enter the house. I walked up to the window and saw my neighbor leaving the house a half-minute later. When I went downstairs, I saw that my golden figurine had been stolen." Anthony denied passing by Mrs. Ford's house that day. Who should the detective believe? He should believe Anthony. Vacuum cleaners are noisy, so Mrs. Ford couldn't possibly hear anyone enter her house. Cheryl was having a birthday party. She noticed that her brother was staying in his room with some girl, but she didn't know who it was. Cheryl got curious, so after they left, she sneaked into his room to look for some hints. There were 3 girls at the party: Jasmine, Willow, and Sylvia. Cheryl immediately guessed who her brother was dating. Can you figure it out? It's Sylvia. Look, there's a jacket in the room. Sylvia was wearing it at the party. Now I'll show you some pictures, and you'll need to understand what's wrong with them. Let's go. Here's the first one. The door hinges and the handle are on the same side of the door. Doors don't work this way. Here's another one. What's wrong here? The woman isn't wearing a necklace, but it's reflected in the mirror. And what about this one? Nine and 11 are messed up. It should be the other way around. This one should be easy, but keep your eyes wide open. Right, there's no red traffic light. Paris went on an expedition to a desert for a month. She didn't have a strong internet connection, so she couldn't talk to her boyfriend often. Still, one day, she managed to video call him. But that call didn't end well. The girl broke up with the guy. Why? Look at the background. It's nighttime for Paris's boyfriend, but he is obviously having dinner with some girl. There's a second plate and a glass with a lipstick print on it. Storm was walking with his friend in the park. Suddenly, it started raining, and they had to go home. Storm ran back as fast as he could because he didn't have a raincoat, an umbrella, or even a hood. Still, when he finally got home after running in the rain for 10 minutes, not a single hair on his head was wet. How is it possible? Storm was bald. In an alternate reality, Mrs. Savad was trying to persuade her daughter, Amy, to go to a party. Amy wanted to do her homework instead. Weird, huh? Mrs. Savad bought Amy an amazing dress, but the girl still refused. It continued until her mom promised that if Amy went to that party, she'd let her do her homework 16 hours a day every day for another month. Later, Mrs. Savad left for her own party. When she returned, she realized that Amy hadn't left the house. How did she know? There's still a price tag on the dress, which means that Amy didn't wear it. Violet had a genius but crazy sister who was always making traps in the basement. One day, Violet went downstairs to get her laundry. As soon as she walked in, the door got locked and wouldn't open. There were 3 buttons. Violet knew that one of them would open the door, but the other 2 would electrocute her. Luckily, her sister had mercy. There was a hint. Which of the buttons will let Violet get out of the basement? If you put the letters in the right order, you'll see purple button written there. That's the one. Mrs. West came to the police station asking to check on her husband. She said that he was in his office when she called him. Suddenly, she heard her husband fall to the floor, and about 10 seconds later, he hung up without saying anything. She called him again, then she came to his office, but he didn't open the door. The detective arrived at the office and found Mr. West unconscious. The detective was sure that the man wasn't alone in the room when it all happened. Why? Someone had to hang up the phone. If the man had suddenly fainted, the phone would have fallen on the floor. You work in a baggage storage room at the airport. 3 people come and give you their bags at the same time. Now, you don't remember who each bag belongs to. Take a look inside and try to figure it out. There's just one girl, so the bag with a dress inside probably belongs to her. The blind man doesn't need this mirror, which means that this bag must belong to the bald man. And the bald man doesn't need a hairbrush, so the third bag must belong to the blind man. After the Christmas break, 2 twin sisters, Alicia and Ada, came to visit their mother. However, one of the sisters has a boyfriend from Thailand who she visited right before her mother. Can you tell which one? Norway is a cold country in the north. Also, it's winter, but unlike her twin sister, Ada is tanned. It's probably because she just spent her vacation in some warm country, like Thailand, at her boyfriend's place. So it must be her. A chemist has discovered a new element. 3 days later, he suddenly disappeared. Ben, his intern, is supposed to finish the scientist's work. However, all the data is on the chemist's computer, and Ben doesn't know the passcode. He only knows that the passcode is his daughter's name, which the scientist has never mentioned. Luckily, there's a hint. Can you guess the daughter's name? Her father is a chemist, so the key must be something related to chemistry. How about the periodic table? The 9th element is fluorine, which is F. The 53rd element is iodine, and that's I. Then there's 8, which is oxygen, or O. And the 11th element is sodium, which is Na. So the daughter's name is Fiona, and that's the password. Mr. and Mrs. Murphy are having a walk in a park with 3 girls, Adeline, Kaylee, and Sienna. 2 of them are their nieces, and the other one is their daughter. Can you tell which girl is the daughter? Their daughter is Adeline. Look, both Mr. and Mrs. Murphy have blue eyes. It means that their daughter can only have blue eyes too. Adeline is the only girl with blue eyes. 3 girls, May, Reagan, and Tessa, came to a private party and said that they're world-famous top models. However, 2 of them lied. Can you guess which one of them told the truth and is really a famous top model? She must be wearing a real designer purse and not a copy. Look, the logos of Reagan and Tessa's Dolce & Gabbana purses are wrong, so these girls must be lying. It seems like the real model is May. Gabriel noticed a beautiful woman in a park and came up to meet her. They talked for hours and, among other things, he learned that she's a music teacher, has 3 siblings and a niece. Gabriel asked her out on a date, but the woman said she'd only agree if he guessed the name of her niece. Gabriel says it's impossible and asked for a hint. The woman said just 2 words, 3, 6. Can you help Gabriel guess the name? Remember, she's a music teacher, so it must be somehow connected to music. Let's recall the musical notes: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. The 3rd one is mi, and the 6th one is la. If we put them together, we get Mila. That must be the woman's niece's name. Voila! It's date night. At the end of a school break, Elle returned to her class to find a short love note on her desk. She looked around to see who it could be from, but she couldn't tell. Still, she had 3 suspects, the students who'd always been especially nice to her. She asked them directly if they wrote her a note. Martin said he had been busy finishing his homework. Owen said he had been scrolling through his social media feed and hadn't written any notes. Leanna denied writing a note too and said that she'd been in the bathroom. However, Elle still guessed who wrote the note. Can you? Look, Leanna's hands are covered in ink. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Hey, don't be shy. After a summer break, all students returned to school. 4 friends started to talk about what they had been doing all summer. It turned out that all of them had been traveling. Addison said she and her family had taken a trip to Moldova to visit her grandma. Ash said he and his girlfriend had spent the whole 2 months in Venezuela. Joshua said he'd visited Narnia, and Kira had been to several Asian countries. However, one of the friends actually stayed at home the whole time. Can you tell who? It's Joshua. Narnia is a fictional country. He probably had a movie marathon that summer. Dan found himself in a dark dungeon and couldn't remember what happened. But he didn't mind because right in front of him there were 3 chests. One of them was full of gold coins, another was full of silver coins, and the third one was full of diamonds. He could take any one of the chests with him. However, outside there was a vampire waiting for him. What should Dan do? Dan should take the chest with the silver coins. Vampires are afraid of silver, so he'd be able to walk past the vampire. Ka-ching! Ms. Harrelson reported that someone had broken into her house and stolen her grandma's golden watch. Detective Callum was up for the case and interrogated the woman. Ms. Harrelson said she had been vacuum cleaning upstairs when she heard some scratching on the door, followed by footsteps. She was afraid, so she didn't go downstairs until the burglar was gone. When it was over, she found that her watch was stolen. Detective Callum refused to start the case and said that the woman was lying. Why? Ms. Harrelson said that she had been vacuum cleaning when she heard the noise. It just wouldn't be possible because the vacuum cleaner is very noisy and she couldn't possibly have heard anything. Mrs. Riviera is a math teacher. She collected her students' homework, made them do a computer test, and started to grade the assignments during the class. She came across 2 very similar homework sheets and realized that one of the students copied the work of the other. Here are the students, Asher and Holden. Can you tell which one of them is the copycat? It's Asher. His hands are covered in fresh ink, which means he probably just did his homework right before the class. Mr. Reed came back home at night after another long shift. His wife was still up. He kissed her and went to bed. Mrs. Reed had been suspecting that her husband was cheating on her for a while already, and this time she wanted to know for sure. She decided to check his pockets. The next day, she told her husband that she knew he was cheating on her. Why? Look, there is a pair of keys in his pocket. His keys are hanging on the wall, so these are the keys from someone else's house. Ashley had a birthday party and she invited some friends over. Liliana didn't want to go, so she lied that her mom grounded her and made her clean the room. Ashley was sad but understanding about it. To make it up to her, the next day Liliana invited Ashley to her house to study together and to watch a movie in the evening. Ashley agreed, but at Liliana's house, she understood that she had lied to her. How? Liliana's room is still messy. If she had cleaned it the previous day, it'd be neat. A famous rich writer was living alone in a mansion and never went outside. The only people she ever saw were her cook, her gardener, and a cleaning man. One morning, before breakfast, the cleaning man found her poisoned in her room and called the police. The 3 of them were suspects. The cook was watching a cooking blog on YouTube. The cleaning man said he just came to start the job when he found the lady. The gardener was in the garden planting some flowers. Who poisoned the lady? It must be the cook. It happened right before breakfast, but he wasn't cooking anything. He knew the breakfast wouldn't be needed that morning. It was summer break, and Ariana's friends invited her to go camping. Ariana wasn't really into camping, but didn't want to admit that she'd rather stay at home and watch TV. So she said that her parents invited her to go to Greece. In reality, she stayed at home and was binge-watching TV shows. Her family sent her a vacation photo. Ariana photoshopped herself there and sent it to her friends. When her friends saw the picture, they realized that Ariana wasn't in Greece. How? Ariana photoshopped herself, but her friends noticed that everyone in the picture except for her cast a shadow. Hallie works at a gas station in a city suburb. It was calm and quiet there. One day, she only had 3 customers. The first one got something to drink. The second one got some chocolate bars, and the third one just paid for gas. One of them was a criminal, and Hallie reported him to the police. Who was the criminal, and how did she understand it? The second man paid with a $25 bill. Such a bill doesn't exist, which means he'd been printing money. It was September 17th, and Annika was finally going to Spain for her vacation. She was living alone, so she sent all of her plants and her cat to her friend's house. On September 27th, she came back home. When she walked in, she realized that someone was in her house while she was away. How did Annika understand it? Annika lived alone, but look, there's a tear-off calendar hanging on the wall. When she left, it was September 17th, but now it shows September 27th. This story happened a couple of centuries ago. Henry and Caroline were dating, but their families were against it. One day, Caroline's family decided to take her away to another city, but they didn't tell her which one. Henry and Caroline knew it was one of the 2 big cities nearby, Paris, which was on the left, or Berlin on the right. They agreed that Caroline would throw her scarf away when the train took off, and Henry would find her wherever she was. So here's where Henry found the scarf. Which way did the train go? If you throw something from a moving train, it flies in the opposite direction. Henry found the scarf on the right part of the train station, which means the train headed left to Paris. Spoiler, a couple of months later he found Caroline there, and they lived happily ever after. Karina was going to become a historian. After classes, she liked to go to the History Museum to read her books and learn new things. One day, while the girl was studying there, she went to the bathroom, leaving her stuff behind. When she returned, she discovered that her wallet was missing. Noelle said she never paid attention to Karina or her stuff. Tucker said that at that time, he was on the phone with his friend. Lyra said she hadn't stolen anything. Who lied? Tucker. It's prohibited to talk on the phone in the museum. Mrs. Moore had a rule. If her daughters wanted to eat ice cream in the evening, they had to do some housework during the day. On a rainy Tuesday, she came back from work and asked her daughters what they'd done. Charlotte said she'd vacuum cleaned the second floor. Indiana said she'd done the laundry. Polaris said she'd watered the plants in the garden. Who didn't eat ice cream that day? Polaris. She said she'd watered the flowers, but why would she do it if it was raining outside? Detective Callum is on a mission to find a vampire and an elf. He knows that the vampire lives in the red house on the left side of the neighborhood. Look closely at this family and find the vampire. It's this guy. He's walking past the mirror, but there's no reflection. Now back to the elf. He lives in the greenhouse on the right side of the neighborhood. Detective Callum has started to watch this building too. Luckily, he has only spotted 2 people. But who is the elf? It must be this guy. Look, his ears are pointed. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell called the police. They said that their son, a private school student, hadn't come back from school. The problem was that he suffered from amnesia. The police started to search the city. They found 3 teenagers with amnesia who didn't know their names or the names of their parents. And still, they managed to figure out who Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son was. Can you understand it? It's the guy in the middle. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell's son went to school in the morning and didn't return, so he must still be wearing his school uniform. Phoebus crossed the border of 2 countries every day, riding his bike and wearing a huge backpack. The custom officers checked his bag every day but couldn't find anything prohibited. And still, they were sure that Phoebus was up to no good. They were actually right, but they couldn't understand what was wrong. Can you figure it out? Look, every time, Phoebus rides a different bike. He smuggles bikes right in front of their noses. Mrs. Adams came back home. She had 3 children who were grounded and not allowed to watch TV. When she was about to get into the house, she heard that the TV was on. But when she entered, it had already been turned off. Serenity was in the garden. She said she had been redoing her flower bed for the last couple of hours. Cressida was upstairs in her room doing her homework. Everett was in the garage playing the guitar. Who lied? Serenity. No one works in the garden wearing a dress. Also, she's completely clean and doesn't have any garden tools with her. Oliver is terrible at packing. Whenever he goes somewhere, he always takes the stuff he'll never need. Today, he's packing to go camping in the forest. Take a look inside his bag and decide what he won't need on the trip. Look, there's an electric kettle. There's no electricity in the forest, so he can definitely leave it at home. Now, look at what Oliver has packed for a weekend at his parents' house. What things won't he need? There are 2 huge towels. I'm pretty sure his parents have spare towels. He can leave them at home. Oliver is going on vacation to a deserted island. He will spend a couple of days there, trying to survive on his own. What things won't he need on the island? Oh boy, don't take this laptop with you. It'll run out of power really fast. Susie was finally going on vacation, and she was planning to spend it in Mexico. She lived alone, so she asked her friend to look after her plants and her cat. The friend agreed and took them to her house. When Susie returned, she realized that someone had been in her house while she had been away. How did Susie understand it? Susie lives alone, but look, several packages were delivered while she was away. And somehow they are inside, not outside the house.
Autumn is an archaeologist exploring an ancient cave. After a month down there, she found a hidden place with 3 chests. One of them had gold in it. But if the woman picked the wrong chest, she'd get locked in the cave forever.
Uh-oh.
The note on the first chest said, "The gold isn't in chest 2. The second note said, "The gold is in chest 1 or 3. And the last one said, "The gold isn't here." Which chest should she open? If the gold isn't in the second chest, it must be in the first or the third one. But the note on the third chest claims the gold isn't there, so it must be in the first chest. Ben works at a VIP club. His job is to not let any young or suspicious people in. Every day, some visitors with fake IDs try to sneak in, and Ben has to detect which documents are fake. Here are some IDs. Your task is to help Ben decide if people they belong to can enter. Here, look at this one. What will you say? It seems like she was born on the 28th of the 13th month. This ID doesn't look real. Great, another one for you. Should Ben let this guy in? This person is supposed to be 46 years old, but in this photo, he looks like a teenager. I think Ben shouldn't let him in. This is suspicious. What can you say this time? In or out? This ID seems real. I think it's safe to let her in. Another person, another decision. Does anything bother you here? Nope, he seems fine to me. One more to go. Should Ben let her in? Look at her address. Canada, USA? This is weird. I bet it's a fake ID. So I'd say nope. Mason went to visit his grandma, who lived in a different part of his neighborhood. While he was in her house, his bike got stolen. Mason called the police. He said that he'd seen the bike had been taken by Mr. Jones. It was the neighbor the guy had always been arguing with. Mason and a detective came to visit Mr. Jones. The police officer asked if the man had stolen the bike. Mr. Jones denied doing it, saying he'd just finished painting his fence. The detective believed him. Why? His story seems true. There's fresh paint on the grass by the fence, which proves that Mr. Jones indeed painted it just recently. When Quinn returned home after walking her dog, she found out someone had stolen her favorite bracelet from her room.
Oh no!
Her sister, Belle, also liked it. So Quinn went to find her and asked if she had taken the accessory. The girl ran into Belle as she was leaving the bathroom. Belle denied taking the bracelet, saying that she'd been in the shower this whole time. She didn't even have time to enter her sister's room. Quinn sneaked a peek into the bathroom and realized Belle was lying about taking a shower. How did she understand it? If Belle had really taken a shower, the bathroom mirror would be foggy, but look, it's absolutely clear. The city's richest lady, Mrs. Anderson, came to watch a football game. She was sitting on the best seat in the first row. In the middle of the game, she noticed that someone had stolen her diamond necklace. Luckily, a detective was sitting right next to her. He started to observe people around. One person became his main suspect. And who do you suspect? Look, there's a guy dressed as a football player with the number 7 on his back. But as you can see, number 7 is playing the game. Someone must have dressed as a player to blend in. Evie was living with her partner. She didn't want to tell her parents about her relationship yet, so she kept it a secret. Once, her mother came from another city to visit Evie. The girl's partner was on a business trip at that time, so she decided to pretend that she lived alone. And still, her mother could tell that Evie was dating someone. How did she figure it out? There are 2 toothbrushes in the bathroom. One of them is likely to belong to someone else. Alice and Dakota work in the city's animal shelter on the weekends. Alice walks the dog and Dakota feeds the cats. Who does something wrong? Dakota. She gives the cats dog food. Sophie and Ever are having a picnic in the park. Sophie is talking to her brother on the phone, and Ever is eating berries from a bush. Who is not smart? Ever. There is a warning sign saying the berries are poisonous. A family is working in the backyard. Atlas is mowing the lawn, and Cassidy is watering the flowers. Can you tell who is doing something wrong? Atlas. It seems that his lawnmower doesn't work properly because the grass doesn't get cut. Tatum woke up in a hospital. 2 men came to visit her. Both of them claim to be her doctor. Can you tell who the real doctor is? Look, this man's name tag says Olivia, which means the real doctor is on the right, and the one on the left must have stolen someone else's uniform. 2 students, Elsa and Isla, are spending the afternoon in the park. Elsa is having lunch sitting on the grass, and Isla is reading on a bench. Who is less smart? Isla. The bench has a sign, wet paint. Mrs. Evans came to a cafe to have lunch and saw her daughter Scarlett sitting at one of the tables. She came up to her and asked the girl why she wasn't at school. Scarlett said that her last class had finished a bit earlier and that she came here just a couple of minutes ago to get an iced coffee. She promised to be gone in 5 minutes. Still, her mother didn't believe her and grounded Scarlett for missing school. Why? The ice in Scarlett's coffee had already melted. This means that she'd been here for a while, way longer than she claims. Melanie was having her written economics exam. One of the questions she had to answer was, what is the risk? She answered the question with just one word, but still got the highest mark. What was the word she wrote? She must have written the word this. 3 girls are fighting over a doll. It belongs to one of them, but each of the 3 says it's hers. Who do you think the real owner of the doll is? It must be this girl. Look, she and the doll have matching outfits. It's Halloween, and some people got dressed as ghosts, but there's one real ghost among them. Who do you think it is? Look, this person doesn't cast a shadow. 3 friends went camping. 2 of them are real people, and 1 is a robot. Take a closer look at the photo of them and tell me who you think the robot is. It must be this guy. Take a look at the footprints each of them left. This guy's footprints are actually wheel prints, which is not very common for a real human. Amanda and her mom are participating in a game show. It's the final round, and Amanda's task is to figure out which of these 2 women is her mom. Both women are wearing masks, so Amanda cannot see their faces. Can you help her? Pay attention to the woman's hair color. Amanda is redheaded. This woman has red hair too, so I'd bet it's her mom. In any case, Amanda must know what color her mom's hair is, so she's safe here. Local police got information that their little town had been invaded. Officers started walking around asking for people's ID cards. I'll show them to you one by one, and you must decide who looks suspicious. For example, this one. What's your verdict? Look at this guy's birth year. No, it's definitely not a real ID. Here's another one. What can you say about this lady? Look at her place of residence. It's just the name of some place. There's no mention of a state or country. Nope, this person is suspicious too. The next person is this young lady, and here's her ID card. Do you see anything suspicious? She seems fine to me. I'd let her go. Another one. What about this person? This time, pay attention to this photo. All document photos should have a white background. This one isn't an officially issued ID card, so I'd say he's suspicious. I have the last suspect for you. What do you say? Is there anything we should be concerned about? No, he's okay. Let him go. A rich lady, Mrs. Reed, was looking for a person to clean her house every week. She invited 3 candidates and asked them why they wanted the job. Amelia said she wanted to earn some money during the summer to travel to another state with her friends. Colton said his mother forced him to do something in the summer so that he didn't play video games all day long. Danica said she was totally broke and needed money to survive. When they left, Mrs. Reed saw that her diamond necklace was missing. She guessed that one of the candidates had stolen it, so she invited them again. Take a look at them and figure out who the thief is. It's Danica. She said she was broke. The last time she was there, she was wearing old clothes. But look at her now. She has new clothes, gold earrings, and an iPhone. She must have stolen the necklace and sold it. On a snowy winter day, police got a call that one of the houses in the neighborhood had been robbed. A detective visited people living there, but everyone said that they'd been staying at home because of the weather. Still, the detective understood who was lying. This person became the main suspect. Who is it? It must be the person living in this house. He said he'd been staying at home, but he obviously parked his car after the snow had already built up on the driveway. So, the car was away for a while. Why would he lie? Another day, another crime. Mr. Spencer, a businessman, was robbed. He said he'd had a heavy safe full of cash in his bedroom. Now it was gone, and he was worried that he didn't have any proof that he'd ever possessed it. Still, a detective said that he believed the man and asked for details. How did the detective know the businessman wasn't a liar? Look, there's dents on the floor. Something really heavy was indeed standing there for a long time.
Well, you're a private detective. You work in a city inhabited by people and magical creatures. You're going to have a rough night. The full moon is coming. It's the time when people and monsters go crazy. Like any detective, you write down your guesses in a diary so that you can summarize the results later. It's afternoon now. You're sitting in your office. Lightning strikes in the sky and someone knocks on the door at the same time. A pale woman enters the room and asks for help. You notice a bracelet on her arm. Her zombie brother is accused of stealing some jewelry, but she's sure he is not guilty. She asks you to prove it. You arrive at the store. On a broken display case where the jewelry used to be, you notice fingerprints. There are 3 suspects: a werewolf, an elf, and a zombie. Which of them is the thief? The elf. The zombie has skeleton hands, and the werewolf has hairy paws. Only the elf could leave human-like fingerprints. You drive through the streets and see a group of suspicious people standing by the riverbank. You stop and get out of the car. The people notice you and sprint in the opposite direction. You run after them on the sand along the water, but can't catch up. You look around but don't see anyone. Then you figure out it was your hallucination triggered by long sleepless nights. How did you figure that out? You ran after these people on the sand, but you can only see the footprints of your boots. You're walking back to the car and hear some screams coming from the water. A woman is calling for help. You run into the river and swim toward the drowning woman. But when you approach her, you see 3 people. They're all screaming, but only one of them is a real human and needs help. The rest are mermaids who want to lure you to their kingdom. How can you find out who the real woman is? Dive and check who has a fishtail. You save the woman and go to the car. It starts raining. You don't want to catch a cold, so you decide to change your clothes in your apartment. But suddenly, you hear someone scream for help outside. You run out of the apartment and forget to lock the door. A woman is crying in the street. She's standing near the road. In the distance, you can see a car leaving at high speed. The woman says her new car has just been stolen. You get into your vehicle and start chasing the criminal. The suspect gets out of the car and runs toward an abandoned house. He climbs over the fence and disappears inside. You go there after him. In a small hall, 5 zombies are walking in different directions. But zombies don't drive cars. One of them is the thief pretending to be a zombie. Who is it exactly? Zombies don't sweat, but one of the creatures you see is covered with sweat. That's because it's the criminal who has been running away from you. You walk through the streets. There's a warning on a post about lizard people charging at the inhabitants of the city. You remember investigating this case, but you couldn't find these reptiles. Now you need to go to the park. For several days, a large werewolf has been scaring the residents there. You know that the werewolf has a wife, and she is the only person who can calm the monster down and help him return to his human form. You have found 3 girls. Each of them might be the werewolf's wife you're looking for. You ask his wife to approach him, but none of the girls admits she's the one you need. So you have to make your own choice. Do you see some wool on this girl's clothes? It's the wolf's fur, which means she's the wife. She walks up to the monster, hugs it, and the werewolf turns into a human. You're hungry. You drop by a pizzeria. The owner of the restaurant says that someone has taken all his weekly earnings from the safe. The thief wore gloves and left no fingerprints. The video cameras were turned off. You know this pizzeria has had several similar incidents over the past year. Every time, the insurance company paid the owner the entire amount that had been stolen. You're sure the owner took his own money to use the insurance again. Take a look at the office and prove that the owner is guilty. Look at the air vent. Behind the grated hatch, you can see the bundles of the stolen money you've been looking for. There's a long night ahead, and you're feeling sleepy. You go to a small cafe to get a coffee. You give the money to the saleswoman and take the cup with the drink. You take a sip and realize the woman is in danger right now. How do you know that? "Help me" is written on the cup she's just given you. You decide not to leave the cafe and sit down at the table. You can see a man in a black raincoat and hood sitting at the other end of the room. The girl behind the cash register is looking at him wearily. You look at this visitor for a few seconds and realize he's a vampire. What makes you think that? It's night outside. You can see your reflection in the window. The hooded man is sitting by the window too, but isn't reflected in it. He's a vampire. The coffee has cheered you up a little. You're walking along the street, lost in thought. That's why you don't notice an open maintenance hole in front of you. You fall and find yourself in a dark sewer. Phew! Fortunately, you're not hurt. Shh! You can hear some noise at a distance. You turn on your flashlight and slowly walk forward. Soon, you come across a cage with several people inside. They say a mad scientist caught them and put them in this cage to conduct experiments. You need to free the prisoners. But where can you find the key? Carefully inspect the laboratory. One of the jars with chemicals standing on the shelf has a key inside. You take it out and are about to open the cage, but the scientist returns. He tells you not to do this. The people inside are actually mutant lizards. The scientist admits that he accidentally turned regular crocodiles into humans. The scientist managed to catch these monsters and put them in this cage. He's going to turn them back into reptiles and let them go. The prisoners say they are humans, and the scientist lies. Who do you believe? You decide not to open the cage. Inside, next to the people, you can see pieces of faded skin and scales. Snakes and other reptiles shed during molting. You believe the scientist, and he promises that he will soon fix everything. You're back in the street. It's as dirty and uncomfortable here as in the sewer. Nearby, a bolt of lightning strikes something. You hear someone screaming and run there. A multi-story building is on fire. An old lady is crying. She's left her cat in the apartment. Firefighters may not be able to save it, so you decide to do it yourself. You go up to the top floor using an old fire escape. It collapses behind you. Fortunately, you manage to jump into the window. You're in the old lady's apartment. Several floors lead to different rooms. You don't have time to check each of them. The fire is getting closer. Where is the cat? That door is scratched at the bottom. Those are claw marks. The cat must be there. You open the door and see a big black cougar. The fire is everywhere, and you can't go out through the main entrance. There is a window leading to the backyard and a fire escape. Where will you go? The fire escape collapsed when you were trying to get into the apartment. In the window, you see the tree.
James is a famous vlogger. He arrives at an abandoned haunted castle to film a video. James hasn't even entered the house yet, but he has already spotted 5 weird things about this place and freaked out. Can you see them too? These footprints on the ground are too giant. It's winter, but this cherry tree is blooming. It should be the moon in the sky, not Saturn. Also, this black cat has 4 paws, but leaves footprints from only 3. James walks around the castle and gets lost in the garden maze. But in a while, he arrives at the front doors. Can you guess which way brought James here? Here's the only way to cross the maze. Unfortunately, the doors are locked. James needs to enter a 4-digit code. Can you find any clues? Take a closer look at the door. There are 4 stars painted on it. The first one has 5 rays, the second has 4 rays, the third one, 9, and finally, the fourth one has 7 rays. Therefore, the correct code is 5497. James enters the castle. It's very dark. Suddenly, someone grabs his camera and runs away to the library. James follows the thief. In the library, he faces a werewolf, a vampire, and a lady ghost. James questions them all. The werewolf says, "I only come here for magic books to find a way to become human again. I'm not involved in the robbery." The lady ghost says, "Someone spilled cherry juice on my favorite dress. I spent an hour in the bathroom trying to clean it. I didn't see anything suspicious. And the vampire says, it's early evening now. I got up just a minute ago. Why would I need your camera anyway? Who is lying? You cannot spill juice on a ghost. Therefore, she's lying. James enters another creepy room full of mirrors, but only one of them is fake. Can you help James find his real reflection? Only the second mirror shows the truth.
Oh, yeah.
James enters the toilet room, but all cabins are occupied. Can you spot a zombie among the visitors? The zombie is behind the left door. See the hands? They are greenish. Suddenly, James finds an invitation card for a party. The castle owner, Luna, is having a birthday. James enters the main hall and sees 7 pretty witches sitting by the table. All look very similar, but each witch is wearing an outfit of a different color. It's very hard to tell who's the birthday lady, but after a couple of seconds, James approaches one of the witches, shakes her hand, and says, "Thank you for inviting me over, Luna." How did he guess? Take a look at these gifts. Each witch brought a box wrapped in the color of her outfit, but the green box is absent because Luna is wearing the green dress. Luna leads James to a company of 4 ghosts and says, "Welcome, stranger. Meet my granny." Can you help James find out Luna's actual grandmother? It's the third ghost. She's wearing the same brooch as Luna. One of the witches, Zelda, likes James and wants to impress him. She shows him some pictures of her fabulous vacation, but James spots fake right away. How? Take a look at the angle of the shadows in this picture. It's obvious that Zelda has photoshopped herself over this fancy beach view. In the middle of the party, Luna gets a message from her boyfriend, Carl. He lives alone only 20 minutes away from the castle. Here's what he sends. "Sorry for being late, honey. I'm still working." Luna yells, "Liar!" and blocks him. Why? It's because of his selfie. There's a lipstick mark on the glass in the kitchen. Luna breaks up with Carl and uses a magic spell to teleport 3 handsome wizards to her dinner. When they arrive, Luna asks them just one question. "Do you guys have a girlfriend?" Magnus replies, "Lady, I work around the clock. I'm too busy for romance." Tristan says, "Oh no, I've never had any serious relationships." Ambrose replies, "Nah, I'm too picky. I'm still searching for the one." 2 guys are lying. Can you guess who? Magnus. There's a romantic tattoo with a female name on his chest. And Tristan. He has a tan line around his ring finger. Therefore, he had been wearing a wedding ring. James goes to the kitchen to help Luna with coffee. He spots 3 odd things right away. Can you see them too? The candle flame painted on the canvas is moving. There's a zombie hiding on the shelf behind the jars. And also Luna puts salt in the coffee pot. Luna comes back to the hall and sees that someone had scratched her favorite oil painting on the wall. She interrogates 4 suspects among her guests. Magnus says, "Whoa, I haven't even noticed the painting." Sophia says, "Sorry, I was having a phone call." Zelda says, "No worries, honey. I can paint you a new one better than this." And Glinda says, "I was in the bathroom. I don't know who ruined the painting. Who is guilty?" Glinda. Her nail polish has the same color as the scratches on the painting. Luna takes James to the garden and turns him into stone. Can you find the enchanted James among these 3 statues? There shouldn't be any grass under a real statue. Meanwhile, James has only been a stone for a few minutes. Therefore, we need to choose the only statue with grass underneath. James asks Luna to let him go. She says, okay, but first, you should crack my riddle. If I had 3 watermelons and 4 oranges in one hand, and 4 watermelons and 3 oranges in the other hand, what would I have? Can you help James figure it out? To solve this riddle, we need to think literally. The correct answer is, she would have very large hands. James wakes up in a dusty basement. He wanders around and finds 3 doors, but each way is guarded by a creepy magical creature. A hungry vampire is hiding behind the first door, and a fire-breathing dragon is waiting behind the second door, and there's a giant mutant rat behind the third door. Can you help James choose the best option? James should choose the first door. Take a look at the window. It's already dawn, which means the vampire is sleeping.
Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone stole all the money from the office. A detective arrived for interrogation. A cook said that he was working hard and didn't have time to walk or gaze around, so he didn't see anything. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't steal anything. The waiter said he remembered seeing one visitor heading to the office. Somehow he ignored it and didn't stop them. The waiter got arrested for stealing the money. Why? The restaurant was yet closed, and there couldn't be any visitors. Kennedy woke up in some dungeon. She tried to escape, but the door was locked. All of a sudden, a clock appeared and started ticking. It said that there would be an explosion in half a minute if she didn't crack the code. It was just one number, but the trick was that Kennedy only had 2 attempts. Luckily, there was a hint. Kennedy tried 60, but it didn't work. What must be her second guess? Remember the clock? When an hour hand points at 1, it means 5 minutes. When it points at 2, 10 minutes, and so on. So 12 equals 0. One rainy evening, Poppy drove to her boyfriend's neighborhood to return his hoodie. She walked in the house for a couple of minutes and forgot to lock the car. When she returned, she called the police because her laptop had been stolen from the back seat. The detective said that the girl had lied. Why? Poppy has a 2-door car. There's no back seat in her automobile. Ms. Brown, Miss White, and Mr. Green are best friends who met up at a restaurant to celebrate their college graduation. Ms. White suddenly noticed one fun fact and said, "Look, we're all wearing our colors, but no one wears their color." "Yeah, Virginia White, you're right," responded the girl in a green dress. "Can you tell who is who?" So, Ms. White can only be wearing a green or a brown dress. Since a girl in a green dress responded to her, Virginia White is wearing a brown dress. This leaves us with the fact that the girl in the green dress must be Miss Brown, and the girl in the white dress must be Ms. Green. Madeline wanted to make her dad the best present for his birthday. The problem was that she had 0 ideas. She decided to sneak into her dad's computer and see what he has saved in his online shopping cart. The computer required a password, and Madeline didn't know it. Can you help her figure it out? Look at the desk. There's a note, and it has quite a lot of typos. It could be done on purpose. Find every typo and put them together. O in laundry, extra L in school, I in clean, C in basement, and V in answer. So the password is OLICV. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's IDs and to not let any suspicious people in. Take a look at these 3 ID cards and figure out who wasn't supposed to enter the club. So, here's the first one. She seems fine, let her in. What do you say about this girl? Don't let her in. The month and date are flipped. She must have a fake ID. Bye, girl. Okay, next. Look, in or out? Look, the guy in the photo has a tattoo on his neck, but in reality, he doesn't have one. That's suspicious. Don't let him in. Okay, here's the next guest. He seems fine to me. And this girl? She seems alright. Green light. Okay, another one. In or out? Look, there's a typo in birth. Official documents don't have any typos, so this ID must be fake. I wouldn't let her in. Melody and Belle are sisters. Melody has cool clothes, and Belle always borrows something from her without permission. One day, Melody was going to a party and couldn't find her favorite top. She knocked on her sister's door. Belle opened the door, but saw it was her sister and shut it. In a couple of seconds, Melody broke into the room and started searching for the top. But she didn't find it anywhere and had to leave. On her way out, she remembered something and managed to find it. Where? Melody remembered that when Belle opened the door, she had her hoodie unzipped. After she shut the door, Belle zipped it. She was wearing the top. Atlas was wandering in a forest and came across a huge mansion. He walked in, and the doors behind him got locked. There were 3 ways out. Behind the first door, there was a room with poisonous gas that made your skin melt. Behind the second door, there was a hungry wolf. Behind the third door, there was a window, but there was no ladder. How can Atlas escape safely? He should pick the third door. He just walked in, so he's on the first floor. He won't need a ladder to get out of the window safely. Mr. Mason didn't really like a huge tree growing by his neighbor's house because it hid the sun. He was super happy when the tree was no more one day after a raging storm at night. Still, his neighbor called the police and reported Mr. Mason for cutting the tree on purpose. Mr. Mason denied doing it. Who is right? If it were the storm that broke the tree, the cut would be messy, but the tree is perfectly sawn off, so it's some person's work. Maybe not Mr. Mason, but definitely not the storm.